Welcome back to Beloved Unveiled. This is Cynthia Borsellino, and again today I have my wonderful daughter, Leanna.
Howdy.
Great to have you back, and we're going to continue the conversation because it is around the holidays, and some people are, it's not a great time, just like it wasn't for me for many years, right? As shared in the previous ones. But I kind of want to discuss today a little bit about the stockings and stuff, like stockings. Let's talk about Christmas stockings.
Interesting.
I know, isn't that
Where are we going with this topic?
Well,
I'm
we
so
can
curious.
talk. I talked to Amy. Amy's been on our show before. Amy used to live with us.
Way. Yep.
Yeah, Amy Way, and she used to live with us. And when she had stayed with us, she spent Christmas with us. Of course,
Yeah, I remember that.
For 1 year. Yeah, and she was telling me how she remembered that for her Christmas, like stockings were decorations. You never got a stocking.
What do you mean? Like they just hung?
They just hung.
But they didn't get to do anything with them?
Yeah, there were no gifts in them.
I didn't know people did that.
I didn't either, but there's some people that do. But
Okay.
We didn't do that. But at this time of our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we gave Amy a stocking for Christmas that year. That she was.
I do think I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
I
and
do
she
know
was
where
shocked
you're going.
that she had gifts with it, right?
Yeah.
And I called her and she gave me permission to share this part. So I want everyone to know, always get permission if you're ever going to share anybody else's story, right?
What's up, Amy?
Yeah. So great. She's getting ready to leave to move out of the state. I'm going to
Idaho. Potatoes.
Yeah. But I plan to go visit her, that's for sure. Anyway, we were talking, and so she was just sharing how she remembered watching everyone else getting stockings and stuff, and she thought it was strange that they didn't, but in her house it was just stuffed with paper. They looked fat and everything, but they were stuffed with paper.
Oh, like definitely for decoration.
Yeah. And then she said that was amazing when she got one living with us, and we gave her one, and she had all these she had other gifts that she opened, but then she opened up all this little. She looked at like it was a picture of abundance for her, because she always operated out of lack.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that powerful?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for some people too, like I know for myself, growing up with 7 kids in the family, there's definitely a lot of struggle, and the lack, especially on Christmas, people getting Christmas gifts, whatever, and kind of we didn't.
I can imagine, because you came from a much larger family too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like with me, you just had Michael and I, so you had 2 kids. In your family, there were 7 of you.
And probably not for the best intent, but for the best way to do Christmas, but because of all the trauma I had and all the suicide attempts I did around the holidays and all that, when I got a lot of healing, then I went to the extreme of buying. I just wanted to give everybody gifts,
Yeah.
I remember having the ministry with inner city kids, and I would buy provision was given,
Mm-hmm.
but I learned to give, and I love to give, and I think though, and one of the things we talked about too was that, I think in family dynamics we try to rationalize everything in our home, like, well, we can't afford this, we can't afford that, but I began to look to the Lord and say, Lord, you show me how, you direct me, and make a way where there seems to be no way. And I didn't want to keep on having the conversation that I can't afford that.
Yeah.
And I can't afford to give. I can't afford to bless others. But the Lord began to shift my conversations and my expectations, and expect Him to show up.
Right.
And so then for my family, I wanted it to be fun. So we play a lot of games, and we celebrate soup night on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
We still have friends that come over from our neighborhood, other neighborhoods where you grew up. We still have neighbors that come over on Christmas Eve, and we all share a soup and appetizers, and we play lots of games.
We always open up one gift on Christmas Eve as well.
Yeah.
So.
And so it's like God shifted me out of all that mindset to see the abundance, especially with people. And that's something I want to share. We'll go on later about abundance and community and the importance of community, because isolation is what the enemy wants to get us in, where we isolate and we're alone, and that's when the enemy can really steal from us in our minds. But I love the way Amy said that when she opened that, when she got to get gifts out of the stocking with us, she said it was a picture of abundance for her, and that the supply was not lack. Like there was plenty of it. And And it was difficult for her, she said, to be around families that are giving, because she said it was difficult for her to receive.
Hmm.
I kind of know that one too. So
So I will definitely say though, you have the gift of generosity. Like if there's anybody that I know that loves to give, it is you. So
and I think part of it was because of I didn't want anybody to experience what I experienced of not being, like, I lived on the streets too when around the holidays too, and around nothing but traffic, sex trafficking stuff too. So there was no joy either. And so I love to see, and I want people to know that they're loved and cared for and seen, and that they're heard and that they're known. And I do ask the Lord to show me who do you want to bless? Who do you want to speak to?
Right.
And it's been amazing. And the relationships that I've built over the years that are just, I'm just in awe of the Lord, because he's, I love telling people too, once you meet me and we get connected, you're stuck with me forever.
Yeah.
Because eternity, right? And I mean, there's been relationships where, we go our separate ways, but it's like whenever we gather back together, like my friend Donna and Leanna, we don't see each other hardly at all anymore. But when we do, it's like we start right where we left off, right?
Yeah.
It's been amazing. So
very great.
Yeah.
It's funny that you talk about Christmases. I remember a few years where you warned Michael, who's my brother, and I that we wouldn't have quite as many gifts that year. And then I was like, okay, well, whatever. And then Christmas morning would roll around and there would be presents packed everywhere. And I was like, I thought we were doing as many gifts this year. So, but that's what I always remember is because you said it a few times, like, we're not doing quite as much this year. And then Christmas would roll around. I was like, what does not quite as much mean? Because this looks like a lot.
They will say, you overdo it.
What does that mean?
I might have overdone it. And, but also celebrating the birth of Jesus. It's like, I never wanted to take apart from him. But because he showed me such abundance in my healing and my freedom and life that he's given me, it's just, you can't outgive God, right? You just can't outgive him. And when you're in that mode of his heart and his passion, and it brings joy, when he sees a joy, especially for kids, I love seeing kids excited and praying about which gift, like, what is it, Lord, you know their heart, what is it that they would want? And that would really touch them, right? So I love giving like that. And then I'll be somewhere and then I'll find like, oh, wow, they really, like, I didn't know that our Lord would tell me to get something, and I didn't know that was, I would question it sometimes even, but for you. So it's kind of like, so the stockings are, the reason why I love stockings, like stuffing them too, is because I don't have a whole lot of memories of that, but I make these stockings because Christmas was such a difficult time. The Lord had me start making stockings. Yeah,
you do make stockings, and you've embroidered them for all of your grandkids. So
I made them from their when they were baby cribs. Remember the patterns from? So I made some there, but yeah, I like doing that. And then I have this other pattern that I use with, and the material I felt like God led me to do was the blue material with the white cuff and put pearls on it. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned that before. So
what is the meaning behind that?
Well, it's the blue represents ocean. I love water, and I actually would try to go and swim and try to drown. And I never did drown.
Try to drown?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I used to try to do that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Thinking that would be, because I love the water and the feeling of the water and swimming down deep. And I swam across a lake one time, and I love water. Was so refreshing for me. But it's like I never could go to that extreme to get to a place where I couldn't get out of it. I was a pretty good swimmer. So,
yeah.
So the blue of the stockings that I make, and I'll be actually selling them on the website, on Beloved Unveiled's website.
And what is that website?
It's belovedunveiled.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And if people want to check it out, we're getting ready to launch even more on it, but I will be having those, and people can actually gift them to women and girls who are coming out of sex trafficking, and boys too. But the ones I mostly work with are girls.
So go back to the symbolic meaning of these stockings that you'll be selling online. So the blue represents water, and what is the lace or the pearls represent?
So the cuff is in white.
Or the cuff, sorry.
Yeah, the cup is in white, and it's kind of like what the Lord, like the way that He saw me pure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that there's a whole conversation about that, about purity, right? And I even wrote a poem about it. It has to do with pornography and purity. But I wrote a poem about it, but the white cup was a purity that the Lord covered me in, right?
Yeah.
He's my covering. And then the pearls is that the great price. And I've talked about the pearl before, the price that He paid for us, you know, and that He showed me that. So I put pearls on it and decorated the pearls. But,
Sounds awesome.
yeah.
I want to see them.
Yeah.
So
I'll get them up on there. But that's been over the years. And, you know, I think for you and Michael, and like growing up, and there were some good seasons, like in some of the years around Christmas where you saw me go in the hospital. But then do you feel like there's been any redemption through that over the years?
Yeah, I think, I mean, when I reflect on the holidays, I don't reflect on that 1 year where you were in the hospitals. I think of all of the other Christmases, and you're heavily, deeply involved with Rosebuds, and there was just a lot of activities going on, lots of community, lots of people. We were never isolated. Like you said, some people like to isolate during the holidays. I think I became very used to always having somebody living in our house, you ministering to them, me being able to be a witness of that, and, you know, joining you in ministry as well. So how long was Rosebuds? 9 years. So there was 9 years where it was every Friday night, and then sometimes the weekends, and during the holidays it was even more so. And so and there was always, you know, not everybody was there for the whole season. I think there were a few families that pretty much stuck with us from the beginning to the very end.
Yes.
But, you know, for anyone that was there, like, that season was important to them. And so I feel like I've created a lot of friendships. And actually one girl just reached out to me. I haven't seen her in over 25 years. And on social media, she found me and saw that I was a realtor. And we just closed on a house this past week, got her in with her husband and her 3 kids in Temple right before Christmas. So that was kind of cool. And she went to Rosebuds. And so that was an example of a family that we got to minister to. And I have some good memories throughout the year, but also during the Christmas or the holiday times.
Yeah, I've had, and I can't wait, because I told her that I kind of messaged her on Facebook, because I can't wait to meet your family. And they look pretty awesome. You know, like, she was a delight to be around.
Very sweet kids.
Yeah.
She has a baby, very happy baby. Her husband adores her. You can tell that he absolutely loves her. And it makes my heart really happy to see her in that place. So,
well, you know, the others was one of the other couple of kids that were apart. I'm not gonna leave their name out, but they contacted me on Facebook, and she told me that she constantly is singing in her head "Another Child."
Oh, that's awesome.
The song that I wrote, that's actually on our documentary, right? So that's kind of amazing. And then I had another person just tell me recently that the song that I wrote called "I Don't Know How to Pray," I'm lost for words to say. They sing that every day. They said it helps them when they don't know how to pray. They remember that song, because we used to do a lot of songs.
So I think it's made an impact on a lot of people. I would definitely say. So that's probably really where my thoughts go towards the holidays.
And gathering a lot. Like I love being surrounded by people and sharing life together.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, thanks for being here again, Leanna.
I'm happy to be here always.
I love talking. And please, if you're out there and you're isolated, please connect. If you can call or go to a local church or reach out to someone, and don't spend it alone. And you know how valuable you are. Talk to Jesus. Let Him birth something new in you this Christmas season.